I think the Mamaroneck community in general was always welcoming to the arts. They had a track record of supporting programs that were rich in literature and film. Murray Avenue School had a closed-circuit television newscast completely run by students with parent volunteers, and it was 1966. And in fact, it was so well known that it was featured on the Today Show.
Yesterday, I visited the quiet suburban community of Larchmont.
The Murray Avenue School TV studio and their newscast was one of the first examples of television utilization in the elementary school in the country. The book is called Children of Telstar, Telstar being the first satellite that went up in the 1960s that sort of marked the beginning of a whole new communications age. And the author is Kate Moody, who was a local historian, lived in Mamaroneck and Larchmont, and wrote a whole story about early experimentation in television, and it was all about Mamaroneck schools. It continued in junior high and Hommick School with Charles Fitch teaching television and photography. It continued in Mamaroneck High School with me teaching television production, and then the PACE program, which brought more creative students into television production. And then the video club, which allowed students who were not in a class to learn something about television and make their own television. And now LMC Media, continuing the same program of teaching people about television and new media, not just by reading about it, but by making it.
I came in 1974 to Mamaroneck High School, and it was like culture shock, because at that time, media was everything there. There was a TV studio, there was a TV in every classroom. We had a morning show where kids were reporting the news.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to MHS Info.
This year, Mamaroneck High School was truly off the wall.
MHS Info is kind of an icon in the community. It's been around since, I believe, the 70s.
We got together with other students in the class. We designed a set. We built the set into the corner of the studio, and that became MHS Info. Because it was seen every morning and because it was seen in every classroom, it did inform people and it did bring people together. It's still in production today, all these years later.
So I have a great group of students, and we run it as a club. So we meet like twice a week and we plan the show, and we're literally running around all the time making content, and it's a little stressful and crazy. The kids love it. They love producing the content. It seems to be popular for people who watch it.
Good morning, MHS. I'm Gretchen Barnard.
And I'm Saul Lusek. And you're watching MHS Info.
You know, it's announcements, it's highlights of what happened during the week, it's recaps, highlight reels, but it's also entertainment.
Let's not forget you guys had to drive me here today.
We are allowed to be like kind of funny and cheeky, and we can be serious when we want to be serious. So I think we've been allowed to create like our own sort of atmosphere with it, which is really nice.
What is your name? Tuesday.
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's student run. I just think it really reflects the school culture.
Every single person is integral to the info team, which is so, so cool. You have people that are working on scripts, you have people that are recording, you have people that are doing sound, you have the anchors. Every single person has value and every single person has a spot.
The history of the program had been primarily, I think, focused on television and amazing things with MHS Info and the evolution of that studio. I came in and wanted to have more of a single camera focus. While we still did MHS Info and we did some work in the studio, we did less multicam and we started doing more short films, storytelling. I mean, we did social issues projects, we did documentary. Students were either sort of, their subjects was a person and telling that story and the work that that person did or the passion in their lives, or sort of highlighting events or experiences that were happening. In terms of filmmaking, especially in the time we're living in now, and the fact that we can't take everything at face value, that it's even more essential that students create true, honest stories that just reflect the world around them, even if they're not the prettiest stories, right? The truth is not necessarily good or bad, it's just the truth.
Well, most recently, I think the pandemic highlighted just how important technology and the use of media is in education.
I think so much of media education now is not just production, but consuming it in a formal setting and with a critical eye.
I want to teach film my way. I don't want to teach it as complementing a book. I want to teach it as an art. And so I created this course called The Art of Film. And the course became so popular that teachers took it. The most important thing that I could do for these kids is not show them a movie every day. It was my responsibility that they're going to college. They have to write, they have to read, they have to think, they have to analyze. I mean, the easiest art form in the world is film. All you do is just sit back and you let it flow over you. In this class, you have to sit up even when you're watching film, because great filmmakers still want you to engage.
A video right now is something that's consumed by literally everybody. Like from the time you wake up in the morning, there's a screen in your face with a video on it. So I feel like one of my jobs is to remind students that, like, even though there's so much out there and they have to kind of sift through it, that the storytelling and the human connection is always going to be the most important part of it.
It's the media world that we live in. It's the electronic age that we live in. And you've got to know something about that age and how it affects you.
This is the way people are communicating now, and they're communicating through short videos. I think there's a responsibility there for them to learn the right way to do things, because if they are going to use this medium, then hopefully we can teach them or show them the right way to do it so that they can use it in a positive way.
It always felt very daunting to go into film. It's like big cameras, big scary lights, so many people. And I think just seeing like the senior film and seeing how kids that were just a little bit older than me could create an entire like cohesive story and make it look so good, and it was so exciting. And I think that just made me want to try it myself.
The big difference between media education in Mamaroneck and other courses is it's learning by doing. It's the process that's important, and the students are engaged in that process.
I have learned so much at the high school. I have learned to edit. I have learned to film. I have learned to make like various types of films, like documentaries, news stories, and I'm on MHS Info, so now I know how to anchor and I know how to make like quick, fun segments that people will enjoy. So without that education, I wouldn't have that passion I have today.
There's a really interesting combination of knowing technology and understanding how to use technology, and then the creative aspect and storytelling. And I think that's what surprises me every day that I'm teaching, is how those two things come together.
My priority in the projects that I teach and the things that we do is about creating content that has a narrative or a story. To me, story in a short film is paramount. The technology is going to keep changing. What's paramount is the content they create and how to create good content.
I think when the focus shifted to more single camera production and storytelling, students started to think of themselves more as artists, and to think of yourself as an artist, you've got to sort of think about who you are as a person and your humanity and the world around you. We're really lucky as media educators that we get to see a side of kids that they don't often get to show in the academics. We're free, you know, the kids are very free in our class to think about what they're learning in a different way and to demonstrate what they've learned in a very different way.
As young creatives, I feel it's so important to have an outlet and a way to express your ideas and opinions through filmmaking.
I think the coolest part about the video program that was so enticing to me was how much of yourself you were able to put into the projects. With every new project that you were given, it was sort of a new opportunity to just explore your interests and sort of what kind of things you want to see out in the world. And so it was a really cool way to get to know myself, but then also the people that I've been going to school with for years now.
I always urge my students to work in groups, and most of the projects they're required to, for a few reasons. I think it's important that they have other people's opinions and they don't just close themselves off to what they think is good or what they think is the right way to do something. It just creates a good creative environment where they can share ideas. But if you stop at a certain point and then we switch the angle of the camera, that will forgive that jump cut.
I don't know of many other communities that have something like LMC Media as a partner with the school district like we do.
I adore the partnership with LMC and the opportunities that it's provided for our students to really kind of explore the careers, the possibilities, and just, develop their passion and discover their interests in many cases.
What's great for students is it's not a school setting, so it's a very different environment. It's a real environment. They're doing real world. They're not getting a grade. They're doing it on their own time because they want to. Or if it's a paid job, that's even a more authentic experience for them.
Working with LMC has been really formative in my own creative style, I would say, especially with the Future Filmmakers project.
Through the Future Filmmaker program, I was forced to kind of venture out into my community and find beautiful things. I found this little pathway into the forest over the water that I used in one of my films. It gave me a reason to make films, not just for myself, but for people to see. And I mean, the point of a film is to show it to people and to let people have a little bit of a window into you and into your world, or into the character's world even. And that was something that was really freeing to get to do.
Oftentimes students struggle to see the connection between what they're learning in the classroom and how it is going to be relevant in their current or future lives. I think that media education is one way where students immediately see the connection between what they're learning and their lives.
Some of the things that we talk about and the things that we learn in media classes are the kinds of things that stick with kids.
Even if you're not going into that specific field, what you're learning and the skills that you develop is essential to whatever you do, I think.
The planning and pre-production process of filmmaking, it really applies to so many other fields. Students will tell me, filmmaking made me organized. Filmmaking made me actually plan stuff out that, you take for granted it's going to be easy, and it never is. So many of them comment that they learn how to work with other people. So that's, I think, something that we all kind of need to learn at some point if we want jobs in any field.
I think about when they leave my class, I always said I'd rather you be ready to go out into the world as a human being and as a young adult than as a great filmmaker. That if you learn about yourself and the kind of world you want to live in and the kinds of things you want to see and what you want to put out into the world, that's more important in a way than the films, because you are the films. You are, the stories are told through you and who you are.
I believe that media education is essential in schools right now, just because that's the future.
The video program is so important to have in a high school, and the MHS video program is so important because it connects so many different types of art and media into one. The amount of different people who are in my video class and get to meet each other, and I've made so many good friends through MHS Info and through the video program. It's just such a diverse experience in all ways.
To just get to this classroom and be okay, this is my place, these are my people. It was just a really welcoming atmosphere, and it made school worth going to for me.
It is a community. It is a community that I think kids feel proud to be a part of. It doesn't happen right away, but they recognize it at some part that they're like the video class, the video program is seen by the school as this little community within MHS.
When we talk about media education, media literacy, it is really at the forefront of what we're doing.
When I used to tell friends and what we were doing at Mamaroneck, they couldn't believe it. That this was quite amazing that we did all of that. This is what our modern high school should be doing.
The greater community, I think, would really benefit by embracing LMC Media and seeing how unique it is and how creative it is, and how it can kind of unite the whole community, as well as give a voice to the people who don't normally have voices in the community.
We've gotten so much support from LMC, has given that outlet for our students in our community so that they can showcase their talents.
I mean, anytime one of my students is successful beyond my classroom, it's the best feeling. It's just this school, I think, did a really good job with setting up this program, and students really take advantage of it and appreciate it.
High school is a place where you're supposed to be obviously learning, but also figuring out who you are and what you want to do and the people that you want to surround yourself with. And the arts, especially at Mamaroneck High School, are such a welcoming place, and the sense of community is so strong. Like, it would be a different school without having the arts, and especially without having the video program.
I think my greatest achievement is seeing the growth and development of LMC Media, and hopefully its continuation with a firm financial commitment in the future.